Permanent residency in Canada is a status granted to individuals who are authorized to live and work in Canada on a permanent basis. The Federal Skilled Worker Program (FSWP) is one way to apply for permanent residency in Canada. In this script, we will focus on the step-by-step process for applying for permanent residency through the FSWP, as well as the eligibility criteria for the program. Step 1. Determine eligibility. The first step in applying for permanent residency through the FSWP is to determine if you are eligible. To be eligible for the FSWP, you must have at least 1 year of continuous, full-time work experience or an equivalent amount of part-time work experience in a skilled occupation within the last 10 years. Meet the language requirements, Canadian Language Benchmark 7 for all abilities, speaking, listening, reading and writing. Have a minimum of high school education. Meet the minimum points requirement on the Comprehensive Ranking System, CRS. Have enough funds to support yourself and any dependents. You can check your eligibility for the FSWP by visiting the Government of Canada's website linked below. Step 2. Create an Express Entry profile. The next step is to create an Express Entry profile. Express Entry is an online system used to manage applications for permanent residence under certain federal economic immigration programs, including the FSWP. To create a profile, you will need to provide information about your education, work experience, language proficiency, and other details. Step 3. Wait for an invitation to apply. Once your Express Entry profile is created, you will be placed in a pool of candidates. The Government of Canada will then invite the highest-ranking candidates to apply for permanent residency through the FSWP. Step 4. Receive an invitation to apply, ITA. If you are selected as a high-ranking candidate, you will receive an invitation to apply, ITA, for permanent residency through the Federal Skilled Worker Program. You will have 60 days to submit a complete application for permanent residency, along with all the required documentation and fees. Step 5. Submit your application for permanent residency. Once you have received your ITA, you will need to submit a complete application for permanent residency, along with all the required documentation and fees. This will include providing proof of your language proficiency, work experience, education, and other details. You will also need to submit police clearance certificates, medical examination, and pay the processing fees. Step 6. Wait for the decision. After you have submitted your application, the Government of Canada will review it and make a decision. This process can take several months. Step 7. Complete medical examination and get police clearance. If your application is approved, you will be required to complete a medical examination and obtain police clearance certificates. These are mandatory requirements for obtaining permanent residency in Canada. You will also be required to prove that you have enough funds to support yourself and any dependents. Step 8. Obtain permanent residency. Upon successfully completing all the requirements, you will be issued a permanent resident visa and will be able to travel to Canada and become a permanent resident. Please note that this is a general overview of the process and the Government of Canada's website should be consulted for the most up-to-date information. The process and requirements may change over time and it is important to stay informed and comply with the instructions provided by the government.